Yeah. What's up, everyone? This is another episode of the Miller Experience Sports with ESPN Orangeburg. And I'm your host, Caliber, and got my man here, Fred. I say Fred, Victor Wesley. That's someone else I was talking about. Hey, before I get started, I just want to thank everybody for liking and subscribing to the channel. We're currently at 661 subs. You guys keep grinding out for us, keep watching, keep viewing, keep sharing, comment, all that. We really appreciate you guys. Today, guys, is a special episode for me. First of all, y'all know we got one day to kick off of college football. I don't care. They call it week 0. I'm glad to see some college football finally. This football period, we got high school tonight. So I'm cool with that also. My guest, he's a graduate of Florida State, where he spent 2 years at FSU as a student assistant before becoming our offensive coordinator at my old school, Mandarin High School in Duval County, Jacksonville, Florida, baby. Where our offense led the state. Now, keyword I just said, guys, state, not district, not county, but state. With 444.5 yards per game. Shout out to my boy Cedric Taylor, Brian Dennison, Bryce Carter, Joey Winters, all them cats. I still love y'all. Hey, man, we got to get together when I come back to Duval, guys. All right, let me go back. Coach then became a graduate assistant at Mississippi State, where he served as a defensive coach and helped with recruiting. After Mississippi State, Coach became a QB and wide receiver coach at Andrew Jackson High Trader in Jacksonville. Then rejoined FSU as a quality control coach. Fast forward to 2020 to 2023, Coach became an athletic director and head coach at Thomas Sumter Academy, where I was also the strength conditioning coach. Thank you, Coach. And now he's currently director of player personnel of the high school relations. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my guest, my great friend. Nah, scratch that. My brother.
Absolutely.
Coach Brannon Tidwell. What's up, Coach? How you doing, baby?
I appreciate that. I think I just recorded that, and I'm going to play it every morning for my alarm clock.
Please do, man.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate you having me on, and you know, I've done a bunch of radio in my past, so I might be throwing some questions on you too.
Okay.
So just be prepared for a few rebuttals.
I'm with it, baby.
What I want the people in Santee, Orangeburg, Manning, Bowman, the surrounding areas to know who was better, Ernest or Terrence. Honest answer.
Hey, come on, man. Come on.
Hey,
come on. It's Terrence.
This is for the people. Come on. He's listening.
I'm sure he's listening.
I'm all ears.
Hey, man, but we know the real. But it was Terrence, but we know the real. We know the real. We know the real, right?
All joking aside, I appreciate you having me on. Ernest, you're a good friend, a brother, one that I trusted to help out with our football team and be in charge of young men. And you were a heck of a football player, and we had a really good run down there in Mandarin. And it's crazy that we caught up, 20 years later and got to share a bunch of lunches and Friday nights and all kinds of fun things together, man. But I love you, and I appreciate you having me on.
Love you too, Coach. Coach, I got a question to ask you, though. It's going to be my first question. What exactly is a director of player personnel high school relations?
Yeah, so two different things. The director of player personnel is in charge. You can kind of see our board behind us.
Yeah.
We got a recruiting board up there, and where we're at Murray State is we're really focused in on 3 different groups of athletes. One is the 25 class, which is current seniors. So we really focused in on them. We also focused in on junior college kids from around the country, Kansas, California, Texas, Mississippi. Really, Mississippi is a big one for us. And then, of course, the transfer portal, which is a big deal now in college football. We actually went and got a bunch in the transfer portal. It was the best recruiting class we've had here at Murray State in 30 years, back when Houston Nutt was the head coach. So we're doing some real good things under our head coach, Jody Wright. And the name might sound familiar to some of y'all. He was in South Carolina under Coach Beamer, and a lot of our staff. Tyler Zielinski is our special teams coordinator. He was there last year at South Carolina. Jalen Dickerson's our corners coach. He was at South Carolina and actually played at South Carolina. And Zeb Nolan, which y'all know played quarterback there at USC and was at North Dakota State before that and Iowa State. He's our quarterbacks coach. So we've got a bunch of South Carolina connections up here in Murray, Kentucky.
You guys are kicking off your season on August 29th, Thursday night, 8 p.m. SEC Network. You facing SEC Mizzou. I'm looking it up, man, and it seemed like they're sleeping on you guys. They ain't give you guys no kind of chance. Do you see Appalachian State upset? What's the game plan for Thursday night, Coach?
That's a tough question. And the best part is right before I came on, I told our head coach, I'm like, listen, I always say the right things on the air. So the last thing we ever want is any type of bulletin board material or anything like
There you
that.
go. There you go.
But they have a heck of a program, and I'm just not coach talking. I mean, for them to do what they did last year, I think they went 11-2, went and beat Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. They're predicted to go to the 12-team playoff this year. They have a bunch of guys back, especially offensively. Their quarterback and wideouts. They just got guys that can play, and their offensive line's big, and their backs are big and fast. And it's going to be a good challenge for our guys. We've gotten a bunch of guys in the portal that have played some big-time Division I football. So we're excited for them and to have that experience next Thursday night in a sellout crowd. I think it's already sold out, and like you said, it's going to be on the SEC network, and it's just going to be a great experience for everybody associated with our football team. And they've got a great one, and that's what you want. I mean, our guys here, it's Division I football. They've got goals of playing in the NFL. You know, we got guys that can do that, and it's going to be a big display for them to go out there and show their talents.
Lee, go ahead with your question.
All right, so you talk about you're working on your recruiting class for the 2025, next season. When recruiting a player, are there ever any red flags that make you go, nope, stay away from them? We thought we wanted, but then you start looking deeper, and it's like we don't want them now.
Absolutely, and this is good for kids just to hear this and that are listening. You know, everyone thinks that we watch the film and like, wow, this kid can play. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, because once you do that, then the next thing you do is you talk to the high school coach. And either they're gonna sell the kid no matter what, or they're gonna be honest with you. So you're gonna get half of the right answer when you talk to the head coach. And then what you want to do is start asking people within the community. You know, and what kids don't understand is a lot of times, like, we're going to go ask the cafeteria lady, like, hey, tell me about this young man, because they're going to tell you the truth. Or go talk to someone that works there, whether it's a custodian, because they're going to tell you how they are as a human being, because, you know, that's what you want to know, because there's so many good players. When I was at Florida State, we used to come in and we would watch 100 DBs, right? And they all looked exactly the same. They were all fast and strong and jumped out on film. And then you start doing stuff like that, and you're looking at their transcript. Well, one has a 3.7 and one's got a 2.2. Well, if they're the same talent-wise, which those 100 are, you're going to take the 3.7. There's everything that we look into, because there's so many good players out there now, because, you know, football, like every other sport, is year round now. And we train so much. You can start 7-on-7s in January in some states. So it's all year long, and there's so much good talent out there. And so there's so many things that separate kids. And I think that sometimes they just looked at it and say, man, I'm just a good player, it's all going to work out. And there's a lot of good players out there. I mean, if you just take your area alone, just take Columbia and wrap around to Santee and shoot, doesn't matter, Somerville, that whole area, and think about how many high schools there are and how many good players are on each team and how many colleges there are. There's not as many colleges as there are high schools. I think there's 650 high schools in the state of Florida alone right now. So, I mean, it is such a fine line, and we do everything that we can here under Coach Wright, finding that talent when it comes to everything, when it comes to how they are character-wise, what their grades are, and then what kind of football player they are. Because we sit here, I mean, Derek and I, we sit here for hours upon hours and we watch film, and I'm telling you, they all look the same. There's some really good ones out there, and so that's how we end up breaking it up.
All right. And you, when it comes to high school students and transfers, do they compete for the same scholarships, or do you already go at it ahead of time? We want this many transfers versus this many out of high school, or what's the assessment process like?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I mean, if you look, we'll use Florida State, right? Like Florida State built their team now on the transfer portal. But 2 years ago, I think they signed 30 something. And then this past year, they only signed 12, right? So here we had to sign 20 something because we lost 31 after the spring because it's a new staff, right? And the transfer portal works both ways. You lose kids here and then you gain kids from other places. So we ended up getting a good group of kids just to be able to make our roster better. But I think moving forward, we won't have to bring as many in because we've got so many that are underclassmen that you want to build your program through high school kids. And then if you lose like we have a corner, Kayvon Reed, he's from St. Louis. He's 6'2", 6'3", long, beautiful. He can play anywhere in the SEC. I mean, if he goes to the league next year, then we're going to have to replace him. And that's hard to do now because no one's playing true freshmen anymore. You know, when you guys were playing high school ball, you used to see it all the time where guys would go in and play as freshmen. That's not happening anymore. So what you want to do, if you lose that guy, you got to replace him with that guy,
Yeah.
if that makes sense, unless you've got a guy who's been in the program for 3 or 4 years ready to step in. So I think that's the difference. You want to build it on your high school kids and then at the right time fill in with the transfer portal positions that you have to come in and make plays going into that next fall.
Now, Coach, last year Murray State was obviously you wasn't there last year, but last year Murray State record was 2-9. You got a new staff, new program. What do you think is going to be the difference compared for this year than last year?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, everyone wants to win, right? And the kids that stayed around after the spring that were here last year, they bought in completely. And then the ones that we brought in are big time players, and you know, so I think just the whole culture. And usually when you're taking over a program, it's in bad shape, right? So they've actually been 2-9 the 2 previous years. There's been a lot of success at Murray State. Like I said, Houston Nutt was the head coach here went undefeated 95, 96. Frank Beamer was the head coach at Murray State, and of course went on to Virginia Tech for all those years. And of course Shane Beamer was here when he was a kid. Chris Hatcher was the head coach here for a few years. That's done some good things at Valdosta State, Georgia Southern. Now he's at Samford. So there's been a long line of coaches. What Coach Wright's done as the head coach, the energy. He's a great leader. I think he's learned from everywhere, whether it's the NFL where he was with the Browns and the Giants, coaching for Nick Saban twice, being at Mississippi State under Sylvester Croom, or Coach Beamer, or being at UAB in Jacksonville State. He's learned, and he is his own guy when it comes to a head coach. He's not trying to mimic somebody else's personality. He's his own personality, and everyone keeps comparing him around here to Houston Nutt, which is a man of the people. I mean, he goes out in the community and he's at every event. He's shaking hands, he's talking to people, and it's just not an act. That's who he is, and that's what kids want now. And that hasn't changed since when we played to kids now. They want to know that you love them. And once they know that you love them, they're going to run through a brick wall for you. So, you know, I just think the excitement around here with him, the staff that he's brought in, it's a remarkable staff. Our staff has been at South Carolina, Alabama, Florida, the NFL. Nick Williams is our wideouts coach. His dad was a head coach at Michigan State when Nick Saban left. He coached in the NFL at 3 different places. I mean, just we can go on and on about the staff that we have here, and I know the kids in the community are excited about it.
If you can tell me at least 5 of your players that we need to look out for.
Yeah, I mean, I already mentioned Kayvon Reed, senior corner, 6'3". They said last year when he played, he was a head taller than everybody else on defense, and now he just fits in with everybody else, so that's a good sign. He's one of them. We got Jaden Johansson. There's a quarterback. He transferred from South Dakota Mines. He was their starting quarterback for 3 years, and he's got some really good experience. Kai Galbraith is a receiver for us, slot receiver that played last year. He's actually from the area. He can go. He's got some good wiggle to him. Offensive lineman Ashton Flynn is an All-American prospect, and he's a big old boy. He's one of my favorites. He's kind of my cornhole partner. Sometimes he's my spade partner too. So he's a good player, and he's a good partner in the in all the extracurriculars that we do. And Justice Cross is a linebacker. He's coming in. He's from Deerfield Beach down in Florida.
Okay.
plays linebacker, like I said, and he can really go sideline to sideline. And then Canyon Walker is he transferred from Tulane a couple years ago. He's
That's what I
from
was reading
Leesburg,
about.
Florida.
Yeah.
Canyon is awesome, man. He
Yeah.
like I laugh because I'll walk through here. We got a team meeting actually we got a team meeting in 10 minutes, and I'll walk in and he's sitting in his locker at 10 o'clock. He actually got hurt at Tulane, and was devastated. Ended up becoming like a student assistant for him, and thought his playing career was over. And now he doesn't. He's a senior now, and he
Okay.
doesn't waste a moment. So he went from injured for 2-3 years to starting here last year, and this is his last fifth year senior year. And he's just a role model for not only the team but for me also in the way that he approaches the game, the lifts, and doesn't. He speaks to the team all the time. He doesn't take a second for granted. So it's cool to watch him. But I can go on and on, man. We got a great group of guys, and like I said, they're going to want to display their talents next Thursday night against a top 10 program.
Go ahead, Vic.
All right. Talk about how you excited about your players. Another question about recruitment. When recruiting a player, how much does the reputation of the school or who coaches the kid matter?
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, and we kind of hit on it a little while ago, but I mean, there's so many programs where you just trust the coaches, the years they've been there, the program. But I will say this: I've coached anything from I mean, Ernest knows from big high schools to small high schools to
Mm-hmm.
medium-sized high schools to
Oh, yeah.
suburb high schools to inner city high schools. Like, if you can play, we can find you.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's the thing now is everybody thinks they need to transfer to this school to get noticed. That's not true, because now I can go on the system right here and we can turn on Catapult, and every kid from the Mississippi River across all the way down to the Key West, Florida. We have access to every kid, and they rate every one of them. So we go through, and that's what we do each day is go down and watch those kids. So the idea of everyone having to transfer to this school or this school, I think, is way overrated, because you can be at a 1A public school, and if you can play, we can find you. I mean, you can go. Chris Spielman, I think, played eight-man football. I think it was DeQuan Bowers that played at Clemson and played in the NFL and tragically passed away.
Yeah.
He played
Yeah.
eight-man football in South Carolina. I mean, you can go kid after kid. I had a kid in a private school that had 400 kids in a total, and he went to the University of Georgia, and he was a 4-star lineman and had like 60 offers. So it doesn't matter where you're at, just stay where you are, hang with your boys, enjoy the process, be a good citizen, and the rest will take care of itself.
All right. And after you recruit them and they get there, how does your role change from when they get to the school and are actually enrolled and now they're a player on your team?
I think it's just like nothing changes from high school football. You just got to take care of them and love them. Of course, you got more manpower here with our academic staff and our strength staff, which Josh Medler and Corey Sullivan, our strength coaches, they do such a good job for us. But yeah, we have so many people and so many different avenues that they can go to, whether it's for guidance or whether it's for make their bodies better or nutrition or things like that. So once they get here, it's a lot more, and it's a grind. And that's another thing too, is kids like, man, I want to play football, and they don't understand that I can pull up the schedule, but it's 5:30 in the morning treatment, and we're usually going home about 8 o'clock at night. So it's a solid day for these athletes. And I was thinking about it a few minutes ago. I mean, we've been practicing for almost 4 weeks, going on 5, and we got our first game next Thursday. And 5 weeks from now, we'll be halfway through our season. 5-6 weeks from now, so it's just crazy how fast it goes once it gets here on you. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is just them getting used to it, and them knowing that the coaches care about them and the support staff cares about them, and they have so many people they can go. And I mean, I was with 2 guys the other day, Shavaric Williams and Sam Williams. They both transferred in, and we're just sitting here in my office talking about money and finances and how to get out of debt and and things like that. So it's just, I just think there's more manpower when they get here, but us taking care of them is the biggest thing.
Hey, so Coach, I know you talked about the head coach Jody Wright previously. He's a former, if everyone don't know, he's a former tight end coach at the University of South Carolina. How has he came in and changed this program from your objective?
Oh my gosh. He's phenomenal, and I've worked for some good ones. I worked for Coach Bowden and Coach Sherrill at Florida State and Mississippi State, and I've been around some good high school people. He's just he gets it.
Yeah. Yeah.
He doesn't raise his voice unless he has to. He treats everybody fairly. I mean, and he'll be honest with you. That's players, coaches. It doesn't matter. He's going to tell you what you did right, what you did wrong, and things like that. But man, he's a great leader. Our kids have bought into him, and as you know, once the guys buy into your leader, and you're only as good as your head of your snake.
Yep.
You know, and he's that. He knows both sides of the ball. He knows recruiting. And like I said, he's a man of the people. So it's an honor for me to one, get back into college football, but two, work for him and just help him in any way that I can, just getting back into this thing.
So let me ask you a question. Thursday night, 7:00, we in the locker room, we getting that speech. What we got? What we listening to? Are we let the bodies hit the floor? What we listening to?
Gosh. Hey, so Victor, he don't know about
yeah, you don't know nothing. You don't know nothing about it, Coach. You don't know nothing about it, man.
No, you had so real good story. We're playing. I don't remember. I think it was Range.
Range. Yep.
Bruno was the head coach. He's probably the best pregame speech guy that's ever existed, right? No matter what he said, everyone bought into it. And in the locker room, we had the bricks up on the wall.
Yep.
And you had like big wins and big hits and things like that are painted on the wall. And we would turn the lights out, and he would show a highlight film, and they would play "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor."
Yeah.
Coach T, our O-line coach, would be in the back with a broom. And he's hitting the lockers like it's a drum, and so anyway, he gives. So one Friday night, we're watching Donovan Darius's highlight film.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep. I think it was homecoming.
For the Jaguars.
I think it was homecoming.
It was homecoming. Played for the Jaguars.
Mm-hmm.
Then we flipped the lights on. Donovan Darius is standing there in the locker room, right? Because you couldn't see a thing except the TV. He's standing there. He gives the pregame speech. And then we do our highlight film with "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor." Coach T's banging the stick in the background, and then Bruno gives the speech. And the rest of my life, no matter who I've worked for, nothing's topped that moment when it comes to pregame speeches. So that was a heck of a night, and like I said, we won a lot of football games because we had a lot of really good players. And as a head coach, I've had some success and had an undefeated season and won 10 games a few times. And I've also been 1-9 a couple times as well. And you're only as good as the kids that you have as a coach. But those moments that we had at Mandarin were so much fun. How about the Seminole? We don't have to go down memory lane too much, but Seminole, the last play of the game, it was a Hail Mary, and Dalvin Strong caught it in the back corner of the end zone, and we all stormed the field. And that's the thing about football. They made football so much safer. Day and age, and it's safe now, and I think it's the third sport now when it comes to injuries. I think cheerleading and soccer are 1 and 2, and now it's football. But they don't understand that it's so much life lessons in the sport of football. It's how you get along with people. It's being on time, because it's all walks of life on a football team. Doesn't matter rich, poor, black, white. I mean, it's everybody, and you become one person. And we're sitting here telling stories from 24 years ago? 23, 24 years ago. And it's like that. My dad, he'll go on and talk about games from, 1960 or whatever. So it's a brotherhood, and that's how you and I are brothers and got these lifetime memories.
Man, I'm telling you, I graduated high school from Mandarin High back in 2002, and 41 years old right now. It's 2024, and I'm still on Facebook talking to my old teammates from high school. We still talking about the old days, man. It seemed like it was yesterday. Those are my brothers for life, man. My brothers for life.
Absolutely. It's a small world, and I appreciate what y'all do, man. Y'all have so many good topics on this show, and I listen quite often, and y'all keep spreading the good messages y'all do each week.
Appreciate that, Coach. Coach, let me ask you a question. So, do you still keep in contact with the guys from Thomas Sumter, the young men from Thomas Sumter?
Yeah, of course.
Have you talked to the seniors?
Yeah, they got a game tonight against Williamsburg Academy. I try to do a good job when I leave somewhere of letting the new head coach take over. Stacey Bell's his name. He's been big in the Columbia area. He was at Brooklyn Casey last year. I think he was the head coach at Heathwood Hall for years in Columbia. He's going to do a great job with the guys, and you know, I don't text them individually because I think he needs to coach his first game before I kind of hit those guys up. But I definitely reach out to the parents, and I like a lot of their things that they're posting. But I try to get out of that way, if that makes sense, because you don't want the old head coach getting in the way of what the new head coach is doing. But those guys know I love them, and I keep up with them on Facebook and things like that. And then once they get this big win tonight against Williamsburg Academy, then I'll definitely hit them up and congratulate them.
Vic, got a question?
One last question. Social media. How does players' social media affect your perception of players? Whether you recruiting them or
in recruiting, we look at it. And that's part of what we talked about earlier, right? I mean, if a kid's got crazy social media stuff, that's something else that's going to separate him from the ones that don't. And Coach Wright told the guys the other day, he's like, do not put anything up there, no matter what they say. I mean, we're 47.5-point underdogs. And he's like, if you shoot something off, like they're going to use that as motivation. So, yeah, I mean, social media can be a great thing because it makes the world smaller and you get information quick, but it also can be a very powerful thing and ruin careers for life if you put the wrong stuff up there and do the wrong things. So that's just another lesson for the young people that are out there. And they're like, well, I'm just a high school kid or I'm a middle school kid, not a big deal. Yeah. But they bring that stuff out when you're 45, 50 years old, and they use it against you when you're trying to get that job. So you just have to be smart about the way you approach that social media.
It's funny you say that. Social media nowadays, I tell my kids now, social media is pretty much another job application. It's not like how when we was growing up, where we just put everything on our job application, what we want to tell them. They're going to look at your social media and see how you really are. That's going to make so watch what you put, watch what you say, watch what you post, watch what you film on social media. Because someone's out there looking. Whether if you go into a job, you playing football, you got your own. If you got your own business. If you got your own business and you doing business with someone and they look at your social media like, man, I don't want to be affiliated with you. You know what I'm saying? That's a real big deal now.
Yeah, and if you put something, even if it's 20 years ago, if you did something in high school and you're in your 30s and I'm a hiring manager and I'm looking at that, I now have to ask the question, okay, has this person matured and changed between now and then?
Are you going to the NFL draft? That's part of the process. If you put something on social media back in middle school and you a top draft pick, they're going to pull that up. It might hurt your stock.
No, exactly right. Speaking of that, I mean, it happened to one of your teammates, Marcus Thomas.
Yeah, Marcus Thomas. Yeah.
Yep. So
he's supposed to be drafted in the first round. He's a first round talent.
He was a defensive tackle. He had every offer in the country. He kind of bloomed late because you remember Chris Anderson was the high recruit. Chris signed with Florida State, ended up going to Middle Tennessee. Graduating there. And then Marcus kind of came on his junior and senior year. Went to Florida and got in some trouble. And it wasn't anything real big. It was just little things. And eventually he dropped from the first round, top 10 to 15 pick, all the way to the third or fourth round. And you can talk to him now, but he lost millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Even though he got that second contract and played with the Broncos and went to the Super Bowl, him and Tony Carter, of course. But I mean, so it's a big thing, man. You think that like, hey, it's not a big deal if I want to go in my room and do this activity or do this or do that, but everything catches up with you.
And Coach, speaking of Marcus, they didn't even have social media back then. Nope. So imagine when they find out when they didn't have social media and you pretty much telling on yourself with the social media.
That's exactly right.
So, Coach, let me ask you this: what's your thoughts on NIL and the transfer portal? Before you start, I'm gonna feel like I love the NIL, but the transfer portal, I'm not a big fan of it because I feel like kids now they feel like everything got to be handed to them, and instead of working for it and trying to fight for a position, if they not handed that starting position, they're going to go to another school where they know they can start. Instead of they working hard for, fight for that position, they just jump in the portal and go to another. So I'm not a big fan of the portal. What's your thoughts?
Man, that's a loaded question. So we'll go to the NIL to start. So the NIL was invented for Tim Tebow, right?
Really?
Because Tim Tebow brought in so much money and popularity and notoriety to the University of Florida, and people were complaining like, man, like he does so much for the university, like how come he can't get paid? So I think Tim Tebow started it, and of course it was invented for a guy like Tim Tebow to come in and make your school millions of dollars, and then you get paid a percentage, right? Like Nick Saban brought in he made $9 million a year at Alabama, but he was bringing in $70 million in revenue, right? So that's what it's built for, and what it's gone to is now, you know, some places paying high school kids to come to their school and.
Yeah, we lost coach.
We lost. Yeah, we lost him.
Give him a minute. That's a fun fact. I didn't know that. Since he said that, it makes sense.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Yeah. But I tell you this, it's making coaches' jobs harder. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Just give him a second. You see his name still pop up. He probably lost signal.
Yeah.
But while we waiting on Coach, guys, thank you again for watching, subscribing to the channel. Like I said, we had 661 subs. Let's boost it up some more, guys. Yeah. We really appreciate everything. We really appreciate you guys, you know, telling your friends watching, word of mouth, everything, man. Just keep liking and sharing, support. As long as you support, you're going to keep bringing good content. If you ain't supporting, I don't know.
I think.
I don't know. There you go.
Sorry about that.
There you go. Now you good.
It was a high school coach from Kentucky calling me.
Oh, okay. Wow.
It knocked me out, man. But to continue on the NIL thing, I mean, now it's just gotten into a recruiting battle in high schools to get high school kids to come there, and that's not what it was built on. We don't have to deal with it much here at the FCS level. I mean, there's not a lot of it, but I've got so many people that I know at different places, and it's part of it, and it's real, and it stinks because, you know, you don't know. There's so many guys when I was at Florida State, and we're not going to use names, that were 4- and 5-star recruits that never played for us, and you would have to give them $1 million or $500,000 to get them to come to your school, and then they can't play for you, and that's not very good. It should be based on guys making plays for your university and people that are giving you. You see what I'm saying? That's what it's for, and it's not used for that. So that, you know, that stinks. And the transfer portal is good and bad. It can definitely help upgrade rosters. It's helped us tremendously. We'll see a big improvement this year off the last couple of years. So it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing because now you can transfer. They just have a new rule came out. You can transfer as many times as you want. Before you can transfer as a grad transfer, and then you can transfer one time. Now they just passed a rule a kid can transfer 5 times. So that makes it hard. But there are situations where a kid can come to, we'll use University of South Carolina, right? A kid can go to South Carolina and be a 4-star kid, and they've got a kid who started as a freshman that's going to be a sophomore that's a 3-year starter, and they're like, man, I really want to go somewhere else to play. So that's what it's meant for, is for guys to, or a coaching staff change. But now it's become a little bit of a free-for-all where people are just kind of jumping ship and using, if a coach gets on to me, or I didn't like this, or I can't believe I had to play scout team. Well, I have some bad news for people. Back in the day, Deion Sanders played scout team at Florida State. You had to play. You had to play as a freshman, and now, I mean, you put a big time recruit on scout team. I mean, they're entering the portal October 1st. You know, so it's just changing that way. So there's goods to the NIL, there's goods to the transfer portal, and there's really bads to both as well. And it's just how it's used on your campus.
I feel like with the transfer portal, I think it should be stipulations. I think you should at least play 2 years.
Yeah.
At least if you commit to a school, because think about it. Sports is developing you for life. So as a man, if you commit to something, you stick to that commitment. So you, in my eyes, I think you need to commit to that school for at least 2 years. Then if it's not going your way, if you feel like you busting your butt, you're doing what you're supposed to, and you still feel like you're not getting opportunity, okay, cool. Let's go to another school, but at least you gave it 2 years. Not a month. You know what I'm saying?
I got a good story for you. You want it?
Huh?
I got a good story. You want it?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So Tony Carter, right?
Yeah.
So Tony played at Florida State, and then he went to the Denver Broncos, played the Super Bowl twice. I think he had a pick six in one of them. Tony was at Florida State when I was there as a QC, my second time at Florida State. I can still see, because it was between Florida State and Tennessee for Tony. Tony comes to me because they wanted to redshirt him. Tony's out on the practice field with me in tears. He's saying, I'm transferring out of here. And I talk him into staying. I'm like, listen, man, like Antonio Cromartie's here. Like there was some big-time players that were sitting there in front of him. He was ready to hit the road and leave. And I'm like, man, just play it out and have patience, and it's going to work out. And, of course, he ended up starting as a redshirt freshman and played in 2 Super Bowls and had a great career. So that's just one story of a guy who, if he was playing now, would transfer immediately, and you never know what could happen in that long run if you actually stick it out. And like you said, if they had the rule for 2 years, it would have been fine for Tony. But he was looking to leave after that first fall camp because he wasn't seeing the field.
Shout out to Tony Carter. That's another brother, another teammate, high school teammate of mine. I think he's currently the defensive coordinator. What's the team in the XFL in Orlando?
Yeah, Orlando. I don't know, to be the Predators. Hey, Canyon, come here. I got Canyon Walker coming in real quick. I'll just tell you all about him. Right. I'm on the air in South Carolina. Here's Canyon right here.
What's up, big dog? What's up, my man?
I'm good.
You ready for Thursday night?
I'm excited. I'm really excited.
You excited?
Yes.
What we gonna do, man? How many yards we got? What we got?
Nah, hey, we ain't gonna talk about it. We just gonna
Hey, I told you. I gave him the same answer. So, he's
man, hey, bro. Hey man, good luck Thursday night. Stay healthy. I hope you guys progress this season, man. Everybody stay healthy. Good luck, man. And I'm gonna watch. I'm watching you guys Thursday, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all.
All right, Ken. You take care, bro.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good kid, man. He's a heck of a player too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I read up on him, man. So you gonna show us a tour? Show us a tour of
yeah, man. Here, I'll show you
everything.
We got my office here. Got a couple monitors up. Derek's back here. We got our recruiting board. We got our team meeting room here. We're about to have a team meeting here in a few minutes. So some of the guys are coming in. Of course, we got our TVs up here. It's going to have some video and some special teams depth chart. I'll show you all the locker room here. Here's our schedule behind me. So that's our schedule in the fall.
Okay.
So that's that. I'm gonna make sure everybody's dressed here before
I. Please do. You live.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. There's Jason Coley right here.
Who's that?
Coming in.
What's up, my man? What's up, brother?
Oh, what's happening?
Hey,
what's up, man? You doing all right? Hey, good luck Thursday.
What happened?
Good luck Thursday.
Are you coming Thursday?
No, I'm just saying good luck. Good luck against Missouri. Good luck.
I got a question for you.
What you got, big dog?
You know how to play spades?
Man, I'm not that good at it, man. Why? What's up? You want to challenge me?
We'll both teach.
I'll be whooping Tidwell.
Oh, that's it.
I'll be whooping Tidwell. I gotta go. I got a meeting in 5 minutes.
All right, my man. You take care, bro. You take care.
But here's the locker room. This is part of it. We got 3 different sections here.
Okay.
We got a great weight room that we have. So, man, our facilities are top notch, and especially for the FCS level. And then our game field is pretty awesome as well. So, man, we got a great group of kids, and like I said, man, we're.
What happened?
I saw you for a second. Yeah.
Yeah, we there. I'm sorry, Tidwell.
Sorry.
No, you good, man. But I'm saying, man, we got a great group of kids, and we're ready to do this thing on Thursday night and go have a good experience and all that against the Missouri Tigers.
Yeah, man. Well, Coach, I got one more question to ask you. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, a minute to ask you this. Man, why FSU? You lost a bet or something. Why you went to the Gators, man?
Man, that's a good question. You know what's funny? My dad, that's a great question. So my
Yeah.
dad was a high school head coach, and when he was an assistant many years ago at Hernando High School in Brooksville, Florida,
Yeah, I heard of.
they had a defensive lineman, and this is way back in the day, where the schools would actually show up on your campus to do signing day. And it was a young man who didn't have a lot of money, so they raised a bunch of money, had signing day ready, bought him a suit, and the Gators never showed. So my dad kind of raised me to hate the Florida Gators, and that goes back to. And now he's changed his approach and knowing coaches that have been at the University of Florida and things like that. But it's just funny how one thing that somebody can do can ruin, whatever it is, your outlook on the school. So everything that you do is so important because
That's
you
true.
don't know who's paying attention, who's watching, and them not showing up that day and signing that kid made him dislike the Florida Gators and me. And so, he was a big Florida State Miami guy. He used to take me to practice all the time. So he's the one that got me to Florida State University and got me into college football and all that. But yeah, that's the story. So, but big time respect for the Florida Gators. And I was at FSU when Urban Meyer, turned that thing around and like we talked about Marcus earlier and Tim Tebow and all those guys. So nothing but respect. And that when it comes to Florida State, Florida, and Miami and the state of Florida, it's just a revolving door of who's good at the time. But no matter if you're down, they're always going to get back. It might be 5 years from now, but they're going to be back on top, and Florida State's going to be back on top at some point. So is the Miami Hurricanes.
Oh yeah.
And now, of course, you got UCF doing their thing and USF as well. So, but yeah, that's the story behind me not going to Florida.
I got you. Okay. I always been asking you ever since last year.
Yeah, man. There you go.
Hey, good luck Thursday night. You guys make sure you watch Murray State have the upset against Mizzou, SEC Network, Thursday night, 8 p.m.
Man, y'all watch it, and we appreciate both of y'all.
I'm gonna watch.
Victor,
I'm gonna watch.
And X, and man, I love you, buddy, and appreciate you having me on.
Love you too, Coach. Love you too. You take care. Good luck this season. Hey, man, I'm gonna send you my address for the jersey.
All right, sounds good, man. Hit me up.
All right, man. You take care, bro.
Yeah, take care. All right.